Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is a bit of a different video. I am going to be talking about my 15 favorite bands slash artists and ranking them. I did this type of video like about 6 months or something back, and I just remembered it recently and looked back and thought my list was terrible. I mean, I was kind of expecting that because I knew my music was gonna change over time and I wasn't gonna love the same artists forever. Not that I suddenly hate like the artists that were on that list, but I just know this is for everyone too. Like, your music changes and you don't always love the same band kind of your whole life, if that makes sense. Not that you still can't appreciate them, not like you're gonna suddenly hate them, but they might not always be your top number one, like even with songs and stuff like that. And yeah, I just want to maybe make this type of video every once in a great while for me, but also if anyone was curious, kind of my favorite bands. And these bands and artists like really helped me get through some crap and really shaped me into who I am today, because for most of them I have just like a real emotional connection with them. I think I do for the most part with all of them, but some I feel like are just more that they just got some good ass music. All of them do, and that is why they're here. But anyway, I'm going to start off now by listing the bands and artists in no particular order. Infinite Annihilator is the first one. Paramore, Avenged Sevenfold, Korn, Bring Me the Horizon, My Chemical Romance, Slipknot, Lorna Shore, Billie Eilish, Zudomayo, Minimi, Cannibal Corpse, Linkin Park, System of a Down, and Suicide Silence. This is a smorgasbord of bands. More metal heavy kind of stuff, but a few that really aren't. And I mean, yeah, because my music is very broad, but yeah, that is that. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna start off by talking about Infinite Annihilator. So, Infinite Annihilator. As you can probably tell by the logo and the title, you can kind of assume what music they make. They make some pretty brutal death metal stuff. And I totally understand that this group is not for everyone. It's a weird relationship with this group, because I think they're more of an emotional connection, because I do like their music 100%. I think that the big thing why I like them so much is that, one, they were one of the first kind of like brutal death metal groups I got into, so in that aspect too they mean a lot. But two, again, like with the whole emotional connection thing, when I started listening to them, I was in a really bad place and was just beyond angry at the world. I still am, and I'm still figuring it out. I'm getting therapy and stuff. They just, in that sense too, kind of helped me. The lyrics and stuff they sing about, I do not connect with at all. It's very dark, and I don't love how dark it is. They kind of scream about infinite annihilation, and I don't love that. But honestly, you can't even really tell what they're screaming. This group does kind of mean a lot to me, and they are very, very kind of disturbing. I kind of love them in a weird way. It's a weird relationship with them. That's Infinite Annihilator for you. I'm gonna rank them now, because that is what this video is. I'm going to be ranking them on a tier list. I don't know if I said that in the intro, but you know what? I already recorded the intro, and now I'm just going to roll with it. But yeah, I think I'm going to start off by just putting them on C just to start off, because just to start off, I'm just going to leave them there. I think I'm probably going to move them in the future, but just to start off, I'm going to put them in the middle, and then maybe put some higher, lower, and just, yeah. But that is Infinite Annihilator. Now moving on to Paramore. So, Paramore. This is definitely a way more mainstream popular group than Infant Annihilator. Not that Infant Annihilator is not popular in the deathcore metal scene. I'm not 100% sure what they classified as, but like that kind of genre of music they are kind of popular in, but just Paramore is definitely more mainstream than death metal, as always. But this is a group that defined like 2000s alternative pop punk, and really I mean it's still like, I mean they even came out with new music recently. Not that they're like not relevant anymore, they're still big as ever. There are still a lot of fans for them, and that's awesome. I mean, I'm a fan, I really like them. And yeah, this, like, I know I didn't grow up in the era that they kind of, I don't, not peaked, that's not the right word, but like really shined in, like the 2000s. Like I didn't grow up in that era. I mean, I was born in 2007. Like there was an era where all this 2000s emo music came out, and I was not alive at that time. I was born like after it, but that's fine. I mean, yeah, and that doesn't matter. I think anyone can appreciate this music, and I'm kind of the stereotype that would listen to it, and that doesn't matter. I think the first one I heard from them was Misery Business, so just a classic. And that's probably one of my most played guitar songs. Like I play it back there a lot because that's where I record my videos and play guitar back there. And then Still Into You was also a good one. And yeah, I just remember there was one trip, because I live in Illinois, my parents live in Michigan, and if you don't live in the United States, because I know half my audience is Japanese, basically it's a 5-hour drive. I remember there was one trip I wanted to listen to a whole artist catalog on the trip. So on the way there I listened to all of My Chemical Romances, and then on the way back I listened to all of Paramore's. But My Chemical Romance at the time I knew pretty well and liked all their stuff. I didn't know all their stuff at the time, but I knew most of it, and I really liked them as well as Paramore. But at the time, I only knew a few by Paramore that I really did like, but I still only knew a few. But when we drove back, I listened to all their album, and they all sounded awesome. And I think too that was like a point where I realized this group is really good, and I don't know why I haven't, like, it's taken me so long to listen to them. Really listen to them. Like I only knew a few by them that I really liked. That group, I think, is just got some good ass music. I think that I'm gonna looking at this tier list now, I think I'm gonna put them at B. Again, this might change later on, but I think for now I'm gonna put them on B. And again, if any like artists or bands get to the F tier, that does not mean they're bad in any sense, because again, these are all my favorite. I don't even know if any are going to get to the F tier, but if they do, that does not mean they're bad. That just means they're lower than others. But even in that sense, they're still, like, I really, really like them. So, I don't know. The next group is Avenged Sevenfold. Time still turns the pages of the book it's burned. Facing time, always on my mind. I have so much to say, but you're so far away. Avenged Sevenfold is a group that I had in my my last tier list video, and I think they were rated pretty high. They're not going to be rated as high as they were last time, because okay, it was just kind of what I was saying in the beginning. I still love them, don't get me wrong, and I don't think that's gonna change. I don't think I'm gonna suddenly hate them. I just don't listen to them as much as I did. I still really like them though. That doesn't change. But yeah, I think I have a real emotional connection with them. And I think that the first song I heard by them was So Far Away, which is an interesting first song to hear by them, because, just for a little backstory, Avenged Sevenfold is one of the biggest heavy metal bands of all time. And they had a drummer, Jimmy the Rev, which was one of the best drummers of all time. If not, I don't know if he was, but he was considered one of the best, and people definitely believed he was. But I mean, there was also Joey Jordison. And I mean, there were others. He passed away, I think, at least a decade ago. I'm not 100% sure when, something around that time. And that song was basically just a tribute to him. Well, because, I mean, the bands are basically kind of like a second family. I don't have one, but I mean, I know that bands are really close, and losing someone like that is really hard. And I mean, I'm really glad that they came out with that song, because it's just, a beautiful song, and I've talked about it. I did a cover of that song, and my brother passed, like, I don't remember when, but like last year, and that song is just the most, probably one of my favorite songs. I don't want to say favorite, but it's gotta be up there. One of the, like, I've emotionally connected with it more than most songs I've listened. It's just really, it means a lot to me, and I'm really glad that they pushed through and made that, because, like, sure, they were writing it for their drummer that passed, but so many people around the world have connected with it in their own way, because the song is essentially about loss, and I connected with that song so much because of the lyrics. And if it, like, the lyrics were, like, I feel like they were written for me, like they truly expressed how I was feeling. And I remember, like, I remember that I've known this song since, like, the summer, and I think it was in the fall when all of, like, everything happened. And I remember re-listening to the song after everything happened and just crying. It's just, that song has got me through a lot. But also, the band, too, I think, was one of the first heavy metal bands, again, that I started listening to. Infinite Annihilators was like one of the first death, brutal metal bands I listened to. This was one of just the first heavy metal bands. I really got into them over the summer, and I just have a lot of memories attached to them. They just got some good music, but they mean a lot to me. And I don't listen to them as much as I did, but I still love them to pieces. I think I'm going to rank them on A for now, because they're just phenomenal, and I love them. I think that's that. Moving on to my next band, Korn. Korn. The band that literally defined a whole subgenre of metal, or at least a lot of people give credit to them for creating nu metal. This band, I think, even regardless of the whole nu metal thing, is just a really good band, but I think, yeah, they are just really unique and probably one of the most influential bands on this list. I don't want to say most influential, because it's, I mean, you can't, I don't think you can measure influential. Like, I mean, the influence that, like, bands have on other bands and stuff, definitely very influential. And Jonathan Davis's voice is just, like, insanely unique. And even the scatting that he does, I mean, like, there's so many, like, memes and stuff of it, but, like, he is crazy. Yeah, I just think this band has really changed a lot for the metal kind of scene. I think this band is more just, like, good music. I mean, again, I think I have an emotional connection with all of these bands, because I think, I mean, I think Korn was, too, the first reaction I've ever done on the channel, because reactions do the best for me on this channel, and I remember Falling Away From Me by Korn was the first song I ever reacted to on this channel. It was an awful video, but it was the first. And I just, too, remember I went through, like, a mini Korn phase, like, a few months ago. I remember there was 1 week I listened to their 3 albums, Issues, Follow the Leader, and their self-titled album, and, like, repeated them for 1 whole week. They're a really unique group. I catch myself always listening to them, and they just got really good stuff. Looking at this tier list, I think I'm gonna have to put them on the B tier for now. Now moving on to Bring Me the Horizon. Bring Me the Horizon. This is an interesting group that started off as a deathcore band, and now, I don't want to say is pop, but is very not deathcore. I haven't really listened to their new stuff, but the music that I really like by them is their old stuff, specifically Suicide Season and Count Your Blessings. I think this is a band similar to Infinite Annihilator, where like I kind of had a phase of them for at least a month. It was in the same time as Infinite Annihilator, where I was angry. I hated the world. I was just replaying like these two bands nonstop, like the same songs. With Bring Me the Horizon, I just kept replaying those two albums, Count Your Blessings and Suicide Season. I don't know, listening to them, I kind of just get some nostalgia, because it was not a good time listening to them. But also, they did kind of help me get through a lot, and I I think with these two bands too, I didn't like really emotionally connect with the lyrics, but more just the anger. It was just like pure, just pure anger. I mean, I know that they still make music, but I really have not listened to their new stuff. It's really just like their old stuff, like Sempiternal 2, kind of just that stuff. And yeah, I think the first song I heard by them was Can You Feel My Heart? Just a classic. It's a meme, like you've heard it before, but it's also just a good song. But I think my favorite is probably by them is like Chelsea Smile, because I mean, just a classic, and I know that was on my replay last year. I love that song. And yeah, I don't think I've listened to them as much, but I still like they have a special place in my heart. Looking at this tier list, I think I'm gonna put them on the A tier for now. Yeah, I think like at the end, I'm gonna maybe like go through this a little more thoroughly, but I think for now I'm just gonna put them on A, cause they're similar to. Actually, I'm gonna put them on A for now. I think I'm not. This isn't gonna be final. Yeah, I think they're just similar to Avenged Sevenfold. I know I was saying they were similar to Infinite Annihilator, and they are, but I just feel like I liked Bring Me the Horizon a little more than Infinite Annihilator. Infinite Annihilator is just so brutal, and I did like them, but they were to the point where they were too much. They were almost there. Bring Me the Horizon was, I don't want to say better, definitely not better, but just I like them a little more. But yeah, My Chemical Romance is the next band. My Chemical Romance. If you haven't been able to tell and you watch me, I've uploaded so many My Chemical Romance covers recently, and even a 1-hour reaction to one of their live performances. So if you can't already tell, I'm going through a phase of them. And I don't really like to say phase because it just makes it sound like it's temporary. I think what's happening is I'm just really liking them right now. I don't think I'm gonna suddenly not like them. I think that I just can't get enough of them right now. I'm just gonna start off by saying I think I'm putting them on S tier, and I think they're gonna be the only band on S tier. The thing is with them is I've known them since like 8th grade, because 8th grade I've talked about a little bit is the year I started really kind of finding my own music and listening to my own music, and really started listening to music in general. Because I think before that, whenever I played my own music, it would just kind of be music that my dad liked, because he always plays music, and it was kind of like I really liked all the stuff he played, and I kind of just like when I would play music, it would either be like pop music that like was really popular, or stuff that he liked that I just picked up. I remember in 8th grade, Welcome to the Black Parade was on my YouTube recommended. Had like 300 million views or something. Actually, not at the time. I don't think it still does, but like it had a lot of views, and I never heard of the group before, and I was just like, this looks interesting, and I watched it. I thought it was awesome, and then yeah, I watched all their other music videos, and at the time in 8th grade, the way I listened to music was by music videos. I did not like use earbuds or anything like that to listen to my music. The way I would listen to music is by watching music videos and just replaying them, and it was interesting. I just remember when I kind of was listening to them, I really loved them, and I just kept replaying their music videos over and over again. And I remember I Don't Love You, that song, I went through like a 1 week like obsession with that song. Like I literally could not stop thinking about that song, and had to play it anytime I could. And it was weird, because I've still never had anything like that where I Like, I seriously could not stop thinking about that song and, like, wanted to listen to it anytime I had the chance to. But then I kind of slowly, because that's how I listen to music, and they don't have a lot of music videos, I slowly stopped because I wasn't going to keep replaying, like, the top, like, the 10 songs over and over again. I think then, like, I still like them, and that's the thing, I still don't know why. I never dived deeper into their music, and I don't know why. I mean, I did only until recently, and that was because, like I was saying, I don't want to say forgot about them, but I kind of stopped listening to them until recently. Someone kind of reintroduced me to them and was telling me how they liked them, so I kind of gave them another chance. But that's not even the right word. Not that I didn't give them a chance. I didn't dive deeper. I didn't dive deeper into their music at that time, and I have no idea why, because I absolutely loved them at that time. But I did recently, as in the past few months, and oh my god, I've just fallen in love with them. And it was only in like the past 2 weeks or something that I've seriously grown obsessed with them, and I don't know why. Like, their music is on a whole nother level, but there is something about this band that I don't know why I love so much. Like, I have a connection with them I've never felt with any other band. Like, I've talked about Slipknot, System of a Down, and Linkin Park. I love those bands, but this band is different on a whole nother level, and I honestly don't know why. I don't know if it's his voice. I don't know if it's the lyrics. I don't know. I just don't know. But, I mean, I don't think that really matters, because I still love them, and I have not listened to any other artist in 2 weeks, and I'm not exaggerating that whatsoever. I've been replaying the Black Parade non-stop. I don't know why. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. And also, it's been a hard, like, month. It's just been... I feel like my mental health has just been getting worse. There has been no getting better for a very long time. It's only been getting worse. I just remember a few weeks ago, it was so hard. Not that it still isn't, but it was so hard, and I just kept replaying I Don't Love You, and I think that's gotta be one of my favorite songs ever. Like I was saying, and that's the thing too, because I went through a little, kind of like a little phase of it in 8th grade, and then I rediscovered it again recently, and don't get me wrong, it's an awesome song, but two, I don't think I've talked about it, and I don't think I should. I don't know if I should, or I don't really care, but I went through a breakup like a month ago or something, but I don't want to really get into it. That song is an awesome song by itself, but also in that regard, it's a breakup song, and it's just on another level, and that song connects so hard with everything that happened. I mean, I've cried listening to that song. It's just, I can't describe how much I have a connection with them and I love them. I could talk about them the rest of this video, but I'm not. I gotta stop. But I just love them to death, and I don't know why. And I think this is a phase. I don't know for how long, but like, I think my family is tired of it, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I love them so much. Seriously, man. S tier, 100%. Not even thinking about it, and I'm saying it now. That is one I'm certain about. It's going to be S tier alone by itself. And yeah. Anyway, sorry that was so long. But moving on to Slipknot. I push my fingers into my Slipknot. This is a band that I've talked about a lot and is one of my favorite bands ever. I think I've talked about it for a while. I always said my 3 favorite bands were Slipknot. It was Slipknot, System of a Down, Linkin Park. It's kind of changed since, but I think these 3 bands have been a favorite for a while. I think for a while it's kind of went between those 3 bands. Like, I'll like one and say one's my favorite. Now I have a little more, like, My Chemical Romance I would say is my favorite, 100%, no doubt. But for a while, it was those three. I would always alternate, like, my favorite. But I think Slipknot was usually, for the longest time, my favorite band. Again, one of the first heavy metal bands I got into. I think this, because don't get me wrong, like, they're heavy metal, and they're not death metal, but, like, Iowa, that album is heavy as hell. And I think that was kind of the first, like, really kind of heavy music I got into. But I think the first song I heard by them was Duality, which is one of my favorites. Probably, I think, one of my most replayed songs last year. And I know it won't say that on Apple Music, but I just know because again, the way I listen to music was by music videos for the longest time, only until like maybe 6-7 months ago. I watched that music video so many times, like I swear at the very least 3 times a day for at least 2 months. And I remember the first time I watched it, I was just thinking that, I don't know, it was weird because I was like, because I wasn't totally into heavy metal, but I was like thinking I was weird because I'm like, I actually kind of like it in a weird way. And it grew on me, and I'm like, dude, this is actually really good. And slowly, I started to love Slipknot, and that's how it begins. It's like, really, it's like you listen to it the first time, and there's something where it's just like you kind of like it, but you don't. It's like there's just a little part of you that like kind of wants to listen to it again because a part of you likes it, and then you listen to it again and like it a little more, and you keep replaying it, and then you love it. And that's how it was with them. Ever since then, I listened to more, and then Iowa was the very first album I ever listened to, and one of my favorites of all time. I have a poster of it in my bedroom. Their self-titled album is one of my favorites too, and probably one of my most replayed albums of all time. Just a masterpiece, and both of them, like, I love all their albums, but those two in particular I love so much because the emotion that Corey Taylor has in his voice with all of the songs on that album. Both albums are just insane, and they've really got me through some stuff too. I think the bands that are going to be rated really high are the bands that really I emotionally connected with, and Slipknot is one too. I mean, and I know they're like a really big band, but like, and I know that the kind of stereotype is that Slipknot fans are kind of like diehard Slipknot fans, and I'm not a diehard Slipknot fan, but I absolutely love them. I guess that's all with them. I think for this tier list, I'm gonna put them on A, My Chemical Romance on S tier, Slipknot on A, Avenged Sevenfold and Bring Me the Horizon on B, Paramore and Korn on C, and then Infinite Annihilator on D. Again, I think in the future I'm going to change this a little bit, but for now, that's where I'm going to have it. And yeah, next band is going to be Lorna Shore. Lorna Shore. This is another group that is kind of like Infinite Annihilator in the sense that they're very, very deathy. I don't think as brutal as Infinite Annihilator, but still, they're considered deathcore and are definitely not a mainstream band. They are very brutal. They're unique because they're deathcore, which is a genre that is just brutal, deathy, and not mainstream. I feel like it's either you love it or hate it. I feel like there's no real in between. I mean, there definitely is. I'm not saying you can't just like it, but this band I think is unique in the sense that most deathcore I think is really just anger, death. That's all they sing about. But this band, why I love so much, is because there's a lot of emotion in some of their songs. Like, I feel like they've done some deathcore songs that are really emotional, and I haven't really seen that with deathcore. I don't know, I'm not a metalhead. I don't classify myself as a metalhead. Like, I'm still trying to get down with metal and like learn like all the metal bands. Not that I don't know quite a bit, but I don't think I would have enough to say that. I mean, I know there's definitely emotional kind of like deathcore bands probably, but I just think they do it really well. And Pain Remains, the album they came out with last year, was considered one of the best. It was a controversial album. Some people said it was the best metal album of 2022, and some people said it wasn't. But I don't want to say I agree, because also too I didn't listen to too many metal albums that were from 2022. I listened to a bit, but I don't think enough to say that I would say that is. But I do agree it is one of my favorite albums ever, and I think that all the songs are really emotional. I think it is a concept album, and the last 3 tracks on that album were all titled, because the album was called Pain Remains, and the last 3 tracks on the album were Pain Remains 1, Pain Remains 2, Pain Remains 3. I think this was also around the time where I was going through a lot of loss with my brother, and it was a tough time, and I discovered this around that time. And the 3 songs, I'm gonna refer to them as one song, because yes, on the album there are 3 tracks, but they all, if you listen to them back to back, they all flow together seamlessly. So I'm gonna refer to this as as one song. And the music videos, I don't want to describe the music videos, because the music videos are really dark. But if you want to see the music videos, they are on YouTube. They are dark, so I'm just warning you. But I think they are very, very good and emotional. But the first song, I think, was about, actually I'm not even 100% sure, because I would have to explain the music video, and I don't want to explain the music video because it's dark, and also I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it. The whole point is that the whole song is about loss. I connected with it so much, and that is, again, kind of like So Far Away, a song I connected with so much at the time, and it's so emotional. The screams from Will are just beyond. The screams that he has in it, it seriously gives me goosebumps every time I listen to that song, and it's beautiful, and it is deathcore, but it is such an emotional ballad, and I love it so much. Oh, I thought I was wearing my Lorna Shore sweatshirt. I'm not, but yeah, I do have a sweatshirt of them. I love them. I think that's gonna be it from them, of me talking about them. I'm gonna put them for now on the B tier. Yes. Moving on. Billie Eilish.
Sorry can't save me now. Sorry, I don't know how. Sorry, there's no way out.
Billie Eilish. This is an interesting pick, considering all of these bands have either been death metal, metal, or pop punk. I guess was really just Paramore, but really either metal or Paramore. And Billie Eilish is an interesting one, because I feel like she's more pop. Well, actually, that's the thing. That's the thing with her. I feel like she really is kind of her own genre. She really is. She kind of changed the game, and is so unique. And I think I've heard, kind of gets quite a bit of hate, which really sucks. But also at the same time, I know there are so many fans of her, and I remember there was a time where I was feeling low, and I don't know, I was just trying to listen to new music, and I listened to all of her music. I don't know why, because don't get me wrong, I like her, but I feel like, I don't know if it was some connection or something, but I don't know if I was bored out of my mind, but I listened to all of her music. And I just know there were a few that I really, really liked that probably weren't her most popular ones, but that were really emotional and were so different. Like, that's the thing, I don't even know how to classify her as a genre. She's so unique. Like, she is really her own genre. And I feel like anyone that kind of sounds like her is kind of, like, inspired by her, because I just feel like she's kind of the one that started this kind of thing, this kind of genre, I guess. But Listen Before I Go, off of her, I forgot what the album was, but the album that bad guy was from. Where do we go when we all fall asleep? I think that's what it was. Listen Before I Go was, I think, a track around the end of the album, and I don't know if it's a really popular one by her. I was feeling so suicidal at one point, and that song really spoke to me, and that might be a big reason why I like her so much, because also she struggled with like suicidal thoughts and stuff, and it's just, that song just really spoke to me at the time. I don't think I listened to her as much again as I did, but I still really like her. And you know what? Maybe I will after this video. I don't know why it's been so long, but she's really unique, and I'm glad she does what she does. And also, she does seem like really nice in like interviews and stuff. She seems like a cool person. I'm gonna put her on thy C tier. The next artist is Zudomayo. Zudomayo. So this is actually, if you watch my reactions, a band that I think, this is actually an artist that I found from you guys. This is a Japanese artist that I've discovered recently from you guys, and actually, I think I was recommended this one on YouTube, and then you guys started recommending me more by her. Either way, the music I've listened to by her is always so good. And I think this is different from most of these artists, really all of them, because I don't think I really have an emotional connection with her yet, because also she's still relatively new for me. But I seriously just love her music. I don't know why I whispered that. And the bass, I'm not even exaggerating. She's got some of the best bass I've ever heard in any music. And maybe I haven't listened to enough, but like the bass in her songs is so beyond good, and I would not be surprised if she inspires a lot of bass players to like start playing bass. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there are a lot of bass players that were inspired by her. I mean, I know she's not playing the bass, but like I don't know how it works, if she writes the bass lines or whatever, but either way, they're so beyond good. And I know this every time all I talk about in the reactions to her, but her voice is also beautiful. She's just on another level, and I think this artist is awesome. And I'm looking at this tier list. I think I'm gonna put them on E. And again, this doesn't mean they're like, if any gets to F2, that's not bad. But I think that this is just because I think the emotional connection is something that's really making me rank them higher. And this one, I don't think I have too much of that. But her music is so damn good that I had to put her on this list. Because I'm really getting into her. And honestly, maybe in a few weeks or something, it'll change. Not that I'm going to do another video, but saying I think she's still growing on me. But I still really like her and wanted to include her on this list. But yeah, the next artist is Minami. The next artist, Minami. This is the same thing as Zudomayo. I love her voice so much, and I went through like a little phase of her. I've known her for a bit longer than Zudomayo, but I went through like a phase, like a little phase, when I found her. There was that one EP that she made. It was the one with like the white cover. I can't pronounce the name of it, and I forgot what it was. but I remember I listened to that EP for a while. Like, I shuffled it for a while. I think she's also just the same thing. I've known her for a bit more and have listened to a lot of her songs way more than Zutamayo. But I think it's just the same thing where I don't think she's still relatively new, and I think that I haven't emotionally connected with her as much as others, and I think she's still kind of growing on me. And again, maybe in a few weeks or something, this would be different, but I think for now, I'm going to put her as well on E tier. But again, these are both insanely good artists, and they're still growing on me, so I think in a bit they would probably be higher, but I think just for now, they would be here. Moving on to Cannibal Corpse. Cannibal Corpse. Again, you can really just infer by the title that this is you can kind of infer what like music they make. Yeah, this is the band that defined death metal, and there are many subgenres of metal, and I don't 100% understand all of them. Like, when I listen to a song, I can't 100% identify. Like, Infinite Annihilator, I'm not 100% sure what genre they are, and I don't think you can specifically identify every band, like what genre they are, I guess. This is just similar to Infinite Annihilator, where they are so brutal, and this is definitely, again, like, I understand if this is not your thing, and if this is even too disturbing for you or brutal, and I get that. And this is the same thing with Infinite Annihilator. I do not love the lyrics and relate to them. I usually don't like them. And there are times I've looked at the lyrics and we're just disgusted. But again, I can't even tell what he's saying. So it's like the only time I could actually tell what he's saying is when I look at the lyrics. Because I listen to Apple Music, like that's what I use, and then there'll be like the lyrics and I'll look. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why I like this band so much. But this band I went through a little phase of like a few months ago, and this was also I think this was a little after the era of Bring Me the Horizon and Infinite Annihilator, but I just remember like seriously listening to them for a while. I haven't listened to them as much, but I do remember, like, I've listened to a bit of them, and Hammer Smash Phase was one of my most replayed songs in general, but last year for sure. And I don't know why. And that's the thing with them. I don't know why I like them, but I do really like them. And emotionally, I know they got me through a lot. And it's different too, because I feel like they don't really scream, they grunt. And like with the screaming, I could relate emotionally too, because I'm angry and I want to scream, and it's just like that. But I don't like want to grunt. So I don't know. But I do really like them, and it's just the same thing. They've got me through a lot, and that is why I'm gonna put them with Infinite Annihilator, because they're similar in the sense that they got me through a lot, but I do like their music, but it's just a weird relationship with them. But yeah. Anyway, the next band is Linkin Park. Linkin Park, one of my favorite bands ever. I've talked about it so much. I've done so many covers of it, and one of the biggest bands ever in general. I've heard a lot of people talk about how Chester Bennington, if you don't know who he is, lead singer of the band, has inspired, like, he's probably one of the most influential metal vocalists of all time. He's really defined metal. Like, I mean, they're one of the biggest new metal artists, but also his voice, like, he's inspired so many metal bands today, and it's just crazy how much of an influence he's had on metal. And if you don't know who they are, they're one of the biggest bands ever. Like I said, they're basically new metal, which is rap and metal. But basically, the whole band's thing and why they're so popular, and I think why they're so unique. They're so unique and so for so many different reasons. But um, there's a rapper and a metal vocalist. Like there's a guy rapping and then a guy screaming, and it kind of sounds terrible to be honest on paper, but it works so well. And Mike Shinoda's voice, the rapper, I love his voice so much, and Chester Bennington is literally a god. Like his vocals, like he's just. But yeah, if you didn't know, if you don't know Linkin Park and just don't know, the lead singer Chester, he took his own life. I think 2017. I can't remember the day exactly, but I think it was in June or July. I don't know why that's relevant. After that, of course, they broke up. Because, I mean, he was, I don't want to say the heart of the band, because Mike and all the others of the band played such an important role in the band, but I think Chester probably played the biggest role, and if they don't have Chester, I mean, they're not going to move on. And either way, it's hard to move on after something like that, even if they did decide to. And they were at their peak at that point when that happened, which really did suck. Like they were really, really getting big and like really getting everywhere, and I wonder where they would be today if they didn't if that didn't happen. Not giving him crap though, because also I've seen interviews and how Chester had such a hard time growing up and just like dealt with abuse and stuff, and like I know I've talked about suicide a lot in this video, and I just want to mention that like if you ever feel like that, because don't get like I've felt like it so many times. That sounds really bad. We've all been through stuff, and we may have not all had suicidal thoughts, which is normal. I don't think everyone should deal with suicidal thoughts, but I know I have. And if you ever do, just talk to someone, literally anyone. Just tell someone how you're feeling, because there are people that will listen. I mean, you call 911 and you can call the suicide helpline. I'll put it in the description. Really, I think you should just talk to anyone. Call a friend, call your mom, call your dad, call literally whoever. And like if you ever feel like that. And I'm not giving Chester any crap for it, because I mean, I don't think anyone can relate to what he was going through. And I've seen interviews with him talking about like the struggles and how he was saying how like when he was in his head it was just a dark place, and I can relate to that so hard. They broke up in 2017, and I started getting into them I think in 8th grade. The time I kind of started finding my own music, it was during the summer, and it was because okay, well, I mean, it was actually like a little before, because it was almost summer break. My teacher was playing really popular songs in class. Not pop songs, but like popular songs. I think, I don't know, like I just remember there was Yellow by Coldplay he played. There was The Killer. He played Mr. Brightside by The Killers. He was just playing like, I don't know, popular rock songs. But he played Numb by Linkin Park, and I knew it. I didn't know the band too well, but that's just like a classic song, and I knew it was by Linkin Park. I didn't know them well, but I just knew it was Linkin Park. And I remember when he said that what happened to the lead singer, and I was so shocked by that. I didn't even know them at the time, but I was so shocked that something like that could happen. After that day, I gave him a try, because I did kind of feel bad, but also at the same time, yeah, I guess I felt bad. Okay, I felt bad. I couldn't believe anything like that could happen. At first it was out of pity, I guess. Out of pity, is that the right word? I don't know, but I felt bad, and I kind of just wanted to support them. Then I seriously fell in love with them. I'm glad I started listening to them, because they're one of the first bands I think I really got into. They're just phenomenal, and they are probably, I think in my opinion, the most influential band on this list. But all these bands and artists are really influential, and it's hard to like measure how influential an artist or a band is, but this band, I think, for sure is one of the most influential, if not on this list. And they're just awesome. And I think there's a lot of reasons why they're so popular and unique. But I think one, too, is the emotional lyrics and the emotion that Chester has in his voice. And I just remember he's got me through some hard times. I mean, the band, too, because I don't want to give only credit to Chester. The whole band is awesome. Like, Mike's voice and also, like, just the whole band's awesome. I just know that Chester's emotion in his voice when he's screaming, too, is just... it gives me goosebumps, man. I could keep talking about them, but I'm gonna stop. Linkin Park, for sure, is gonna be an A tier with Slipknot. 100%. I love this band to death. The next band is System of a Down. System of a Down. I've talked about this band so much. I think I've said that they are my favorite band. I think that this is another band like Linkin Park where they are really unique. Well, I mean, honestly, all these artists and bands are really unique, but I think System of a Down is a really, really unique metal group, and that is why they're so big. Also, like with the two vocalists, Darren Malakian and Serge Tankian, I think that both of them, like the harmonies they make are beautiful, and both their voices are seriously some of my favorite voices in metal. And both of them can scream really well. Both of them have got awesome voices. I love the whole band, and I know they kind of haven't released any music in a very long time, and I really hope they do, because it would change so many people's lives, including mine, if they did release new music. But also, I can't relate to what they're going through and what struggles they're going through. I hope they could come together and make new music. But they are one of the biggest metal bands of all time. They have some of the best albums too of all time. Like I know Toxicity by them is considered one of the greatest. I don't want to say the greatest, but it's a really, really good album. It's just a classic, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's the best album of all time, and that there are definitely people that probably think it is. But it's just a classic that is so good. I love all their songs. I think this is one of the few artists too. I like all of their songs that they've made. I think the thing about them is they're so beyond unique. And they are also one of the first metal bands I got into again. So they do mean a lot in that sense too. But and I think they were probably I can't remember the first metal song I got into, but I think it might have been Chop Suey was the first metal song I got into. Jacksepticeye, a big YouTuber. He did a drum cover of Chop Suey because apparently he's kind of a metalhead himself. He says he's a metalhead, and he did a drum cover of Chop Suey a while ago, and I love him, so I watched it. It was the same thing with Duality, where I did not love it at first, but it grew on me over time, and I kept coming back, and I really got into it, and that is when I started listening to System of a Down. And I thank Jack for that, because I love Jack, and I love System of a Down now, and I'm glad I found them. I got so many memories attached to them, too. I mean, all these bands and artists I do, besides Minimi and Zudomayo, for the most part. System of a Down, though, it's got so much nostalgia. I don't want to say nostalgia, I still love them, but I don't know. I'm going to put them on A tier, 100%. But yeah, moving on to my last artist, Suicide Silence. Suicide Silence. This is another band that, like Cannibal Corpse and Infinite Annihilator, you could probably infer what type of music they make by the title. But I feel like this band is a bit different from Infinite Annihilator and Cannibal Corpse. Not in the sense that they don't have brutal music. I mean, this is also similar into the sense of Lorna Shore. I think that, one, this is another band like Korn and Cannibal Corpse that kind of really, okay, well, actually a lot of these bands, but Suicide Silence really defined deathcore, and I don't know about created deathcore, but they really defined a subgenre of metal, deathcore, and like really shaped it into what it is today. This is again a band like Linkin Park where the lead singer did not take his life, but he did die in a motorcycle accident. I can't remember when. It was in the same thing where they were doing so well, getting so big. Yes, they're deathcore and they were not mainstream, but a lot of people love them. Like, I still love them. And, I mean, I didn't listen to them at the time when he was around, because I think it might have been 2012 or something, and I was probably like 4, and I'm not going to be listening to it. Actually, probably like 5. But, like, I'm not going to be listening to that type of music at that age. Yeah, I think I've seen interviews with him, and he just seemed like a really genuinely nice guy. And that is what I love, kind of, too. I love seeing that because I feel like it really proves how the stereotype with this genre is just death, and death. I just feel like it shows when he's performing, it really does look like he's gonna kill you. And he's just like, but then when you see him after, like if you see him backstage and behind the scenes, he's a genuinely nice guy. And I heard stories of him, like he would be signing fans things for like hours. Like he was really a genuine nice guy. And I like that. And I just feel like it shows how, and also how like the community is so, like that community is so close together, and the stereotype for it, this type of music, is so wrong. I don't know. This band too, again, the reason why I like metal so much, I think, is because I'm just an angry teenager, and I just love the anger. But I think, I don't know 100% sure, but I think that this band probably encapsulates the anger I feel the most. I don't want to say that 100% because all of these bands, like Slipknot is probably another good one too. Linkin Park, System of a Down, all of them really. That band just really is so, I think, probably one of the angriest groups on here. I don't want to say for sure because all these bands are, or not all, but for the most part. But I love them so much. And this is again a group that was also around the time of Infant Annihilator, one of the first like brutal death kind of metal bands I got into, and I love them so much. And again, I know that some people might hate them, like my parents, and that's totally cool. I hope people can appreciate it. I really appreciate the people that appreciate it but don't like it. The people that I can't stand are people that are like, this is just noise. It's not. Like, I feel like you have to understand that there is an audience for it. And also, I'm not a psychopath. I feel like the stereotype is people that listen to this music are psychopaths and killers, which honestly is what I believed before I started liking this music. I think everyone's just got struggles, and when you're going through stuff like that and you're just really angry or upset, that music just really makes you feel like you're not alone, and that is why I really like them. And it's just, in this point in my life, I feel like that more than ever, and I just listen to them more than ever then. I think this band is gonna go on B tier for now. In a moment, I am going to like just take a moment and sort all these and I'm gonna just move some stuff around and edit this tier list because I don't love how it's looking right now. So give me a moment. Okay, I'm back and I edited the list a bit. Now, I'd just like to say again, I've said it before, the two on the bottom, when I put them at F tier, I know in tier list videos that usually means they're absolute crap, and that is definitely 100% not the case, because I mean, I even said these are my favorites, and I wouldn't put my favorites on F, but I mean, I wish I changed the letters, but I've already recorded this, I'm not going to go back and redo this, but putting them on F does not mean they're bad. It's just they're lower than the others, but still, I still love them a lot. It's just they're there. I think that My Chemical Romance for S is just on a whole nother level emotionally for me. Like I mean, I love them so much that I'm trying to think of things to do where I can just walk or do something just to listen to them. Like I'm thinking about walking just to listen to them, which I know for some might not seem weird, but I do not leave the house. I sit in the basement all day and play guitar or record videos. So for me to go outside and walk is pretty extraordinary. For A tier, Slipknot, Linkin Park, and System of a Down. For the longest time, I said those were my 3 favorites, but then My Chemical Romance came along. But I still love those 3 to death, and those were like the first really big metal bands I got into, and I love them. B, Lorna Shore, and Suicide Silence. God, just love them. Avenged Sevenfold, I think, is just... I feel like it's just a higher than the Infinite Annihilator, Cannibal Corpse, and Bring Me the Horizon, but also not at B tier. So I put them there kind of at their own level. And So Far Away Too, that song is just really moves me. And then, yeah, D, Cannibal Corpse, Infinite Annihilator, Bring Me the Horizon. I feel like these 3 were kind of phases that I went through, but also still they mean a lot to me, and still they got damn good music. I just don't listen to them as much, but got me through a lot. Korn, Billie Eilish, and Paramore. I feel like I like them. I feel like the E and F tier. Don't get me wrong, love these bands and artists, but I feel like I put them more here just because I really like their music. All the things above are way more of an emotional connection. The E and F are more, I just really like their music. I think E, I have somewhat of an emotional connection. I think on F is just they got damn good music. E, I feel like Korn, Billie Eilish, and Paramore. I mean, sure, I have some memories with them. Like I was saying, Korn with that 1 week I listened to all their albums, or the 3 albums. Billie Eilish with that one song that I really like, and Paramore with me on that drive listening to all their albums. Like I have memories with them, but I still feel like they should be there. Not that I still don't love them, but I think this is what it's going to be. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully this was interesting. I'm not sure how it is because I'm talking about my music, and I'm not sure how interesting that is, but if you're curious or interested, this was the video. I'm tired from talking. It's been like 90 minutes and my throat hurts, so I'm gonna go get some water after I'm gonna do this outro. I guess this is an outro. I've talked about it. Music is my life, and I've been going through so much stuff. I think this is the lowest I've been in life, and I know I keep talking about it, but that's just kind of where I am right now. And I think I'm open to talking about a lot of the stuff I'm going through, which I know like my family and friends have been saying that's a good thing, but I just feel like sometimes it's annoying. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna go into that. That's what I mean. I get into this stuff like naturally. Music, it just means a lot to me. I love talking about it, and I love talking about my favorite music and bands and stuff, and this is that. And I know I've mentioned suicide a lot, and I'll just mention it again. Like, if you ever need to talk to someone, there are plenty of people that will listen. And if you ever have suicidal thoughts whatsoever, talk to anyone. Just talk to anyone. I mean, call a friend, call someone you love, and just talk to them, because they will, I mean, if they truly love you and care about you, they will listen, and just tell them how you're feeling. And or if it's really bad, you can call 911 or the number below in the description. And yeah, I've dealt with that type of stuff, and I really am sensitive to that stuff, and I've brought it up a lot, and I never want anyone to go through what I've been going through. And yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm making this so depressing, but yeah, this is gonna be it. I hope this was interesting, and if you guys have any songs or artists that you want to see me do a reaction to or a cover of, there's a Google form down in the description you can fill out, and I'll probably do it. I know I say that in every reaction video I do, but I just thought I'd shout it out because I don't have comments on. That's gonna be it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and maybe I'll do something like this in 6 months-ish again. Maybe I'll do a favorite songs tier list. Maybe I'll do another tier list video. I don't know, but these are also take a while to make. But I don't know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. My Chemical Romance. If you haven't, like...